In this lesson, we're going to add a controlled vocabulary that will be a key structural component of our site. Tasty Cakes for All is not only about providing blog posts and events, but also recipes. Recipes can be categorized in many ways, but in this case, our users are probably interested in easily finding recipes based on their food sensitivities. Likewise, our blog posts may be relevant to specific sensitivities, so this will be an effective way to categorize content on our site. Our blog posts have already been using free tagging. We take a look at the river of news on our homepage. We see the free tags that have been created, and we've been putting the food sensitivities into these free tags. This is too loose of a structure, however, for us to effectively use towards our current goal of providing a really nice, effective interface. The first step to making something a little bit more structured is to create a controlled vocabulary. We're going to do this under Manage, Structure, Taxonomy, and then we'll create a new vocabulary, which we will call food sensitivities. And now we'll save this. Once the vocabulary exists, if we want it to be a controlled vocabulary, it needs to have terms in it. Otherwise, there's nothing for the user to select. So we're going to add a couple terms. We can include descriptions for our terms. Let me go ahead and add some dummy text here. And we can relate our terms to other terms. Right now, no terms exist to relate this one to, so there's nothing in the parent terms option. We'll come back to this. As with our content notes, we can also create a URL alias for this term, and then we'll save this. We're going to add a couple more. The peanut-free term should probably be related to the nut-free terms. So we're going to say that the parent term for peanut-free is nut-free. This means that nut-free is kind of an umbrella over the peanut-free category. And now we'll just do one more so that we have a good selection here. Now let's go back to the list so that we can see all of them. And we can also see the structure. So peanut-free was said to be a child of nut-free, and you can see that it's indented here. Each of these terms is a Drupal entity and can be referenced or treated just like content and files. Now this vocabulary is available to the site, and we can add it to our content types so that they can use it. So we're going to head over to the article content type under Structure, Content Types, Article. We're going to manage fields, and now we're going to add a new field. The field that we're adding is a reference to an entity. So it's under the new field list, and the entity type that we're referencing is taxonomy term. So we're going to select that. We can label this food sensitivities. Now we need to say which vocabulary it's going to use. Obviously, we want it to use the food sensitivities category, which was selected by default only because it's the first one in alphabetical order. We'll leave that selected, and we're going to allow unlimited values because there might be multiple sensitivities that a recipe addresses. And then we'll save these field settings. We can add help text. We can set the field to required. We can set a default value, just like setting up any other field on our content type. Save these settings. Now we're going to head over to the form display so that we can control how this particular field looks on the node form. I'm going to scroll down until we find the food sensitivities item. And instead of select list, I'm going to choose checkboxes radio buttons because there aren't too many, and that I think will look pretty nice. If I wanted to turn this into a free tagging vocabulary, I could do so right here by choosing autocomplete term widget tagging, which would then allow me to create terms in the field itself. But I don't want to allow this because this is a controlled vocabulary. And now we'll go ahead and save this form display setting. Okay, let's go ahead and edit an existing article content. We'll edit the myth of healthy here. And we can take a look at this new field, which is a list of checkboxes. So in this case, we're going to add gluten-free and dairy-free, since people often believe that if something is gluten-free and/or dairy-free, it's more healthy than other products. And now we'll save this and keep it published. If we take a look at this piece of content, scroll down to the bottom, we can see these food sensitivity tags right there on our article. Clicking on either one of these will take us to a list of everything tagged with that particular food sensitivity tag. Right now, there's only one item, but you will also notice that there's a description up at the top because a taxonomy term is an entity and therefore it has fields on it. And this text comes from the description that we set when we created the taxonomy term itself. So in this lesson, we added a new vocabulary, food sensitivities, with a few terms already set in it. This is a controlled vocabulary, so people will not be able to add terms to it while they're creating content. We also set up the article content type to use this controlled vocabulary for the purposes of our site structure.